Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we need to talk about something that might be making your website totally invisible to the AI tools that are, let's be honest, changing how we find everything online.
This quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. For years, we've all been building these incredible dynamic websites thinking, hey, if Google can see it, we're golden. Well, it turns out that assumption is now dangerously out of date.
69%. Just let that sink in. That's how many AI crawlers simply cannot process JavaScript. And we're not talking about some obscure bots here. We're talking about the big ones from OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity. They're not browsing your site like a person. They just grab the raw code and go.
So, what is this rendering gap? Well, think of it this way. If your website relies on JavaScript to show your articles, your products, your prices, which most modern sites do, then for these AI systems, that content just isn't there. It's like you've handed them a book with completely blank pages.
All right, let's really dig in and see what this invisibility problem looks like in practice. So this is the core of the issue. On the left, you got the beautiful, rich experience you designed for your customers. But on the right, that's what many AI crawlers see. Nothing, an empty box, maybe a little loading spinner if they're lucky. All that content you worked so hard on, it's just gone.
And the main culprit here is a technique called client-side rendering. It's kind of like sending someone a piece of IKEA furniture in a flat-pack box. You give them all the parts and a set of instructions, and you expect them to build it. A web browser is great at that. But an AI crawler, it just sees a box of wood and screws and has no clue what to do with it.
And right about now, you might be thinking, hold on a second. I thought we solved this problem years ago, and you're not wrong. Google poured a ton of money and engineering power into this, which gave us all this, false sense of security that the rendering problem was a thing of the past.
So let's compare the old guard, Google, with this new wave of AI bots.
This table lays it all out, crystal clear. Over here, you've got Googlebot, which is basically a full web browser. It'll render everything you throw at it. But then look at the new guys. GPTBot, ClaudeBot, nope, no rendering. They're built for one thing, grabbing text as fast as possible to train their AI models. Wasting time and energy running JavaScript, it's just not what they do.
Now, this isn't just some abstract technical issue. The rendering gap has real, tangible costs that can affect your brand and your bottom line.
The data here is pretty shocking. On a typical website built with a modern framework like React or Vue, more than half and sometimes up to 80% of the important content is completely invisible to these AI bots.
So what are you actually losing? Well, you're losing the chance to show up in a ChatGPT answer. Your product prices, your stock availability, all unseen. All that carefully crafted structured data that helps machines understand your site, ignored. You are basically handing the microphone to your competitors in this huge new AI-driven world.
Okay, I know, that was a lot of bad news. But here's the good news. This is a totally solvable problem, and the solution uses powerful, well-known techniques that are already available.
The solution is called server-side rendering, or SSR. So let's go back to that furniture analogy. Instead of sending a flat-pack box with instructions, SSR is like delivering a beautiful, fully assembled piece of furniture right to the door. The server does all the work up front.
It's a pretty straightforward but really powerful idea. A bot asks for your page, and your server sends back the finished product. To put it another way, client-side rendering is like sending the bot a box of Legos and an instruction booklet. Server-side rendering is sending it the fully assembled spaceship. The bot doesn't have to do any work. It just sees the awesome final result.
And you don't have to figure this out on your own. The most popular JavaScript frameworks out there already have these amazing companion frameworks, like Next.js for React or Nuxt for Vue, that are specifically designed to make SSR not just possible, but actually pretty easy to implement.
So how do you know if your own website is at risk? And what's the big picture takeaway here? Let's wrap up with a really simple test you can do right now and one final thought. This is the ultimate test, and you don't need any fancy tools. Go to one of your most important pages, right-click, and hit View Page Source. Now, I'm not talking about Inspect Element. That shows you the page after your browser did all the work. View Page Source shows you the raw HTML. That's exactly what GPTBot sees. If your main content isn't in there, then for the AI, it doesn't exist. Simple as that. And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway from all of this. This isn't just about tweaking your SEO for a new kind of bot. This is about a fundamental change in what the web is. It's become the primary library for the world's most powerful artificial intelligence. We're not just building websites for human eyes anymore. We're building them for artificial minds. So the question you have to ask is your site built so they can actually read it?